feel like next week will be like the decider of like where we stand as a team. So we just have to not get complacent, not like be too happy about the standings, and just focus on our own game. Because I feel like if we do, we're a contender for the title.
Vladimir will never get nerfed. You will get an 05 Yasuo in every one of your ranked games. NA will win worlds.
Hey man, got trouble sleeping? Try Brain Effect Sleep.
What are you doing in my home?
Hello everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, joined by Bwipo. What a surprise. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Winning is always nice, especially when I actually feel like I played pretty well.
Pretty well. Mm-hmm. Silas is a pretty good champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's disappearing next week, but...
Oh, is the nerf that bad?
Yeah, I mean, he'll nerf pretty bad. I'm not sure if he'll disappear, because again, I feel like a lot of people overreact on these nerfs, like when they remove mechanics from champions and they realize, wait, this mechanic wasn't actually the reason why he was OP, like Akali. But when they removed her healing off her Q, everyone was like, this champ is dead. And like, a month later, everyone was spamming Akali and it was not dead. Usually, the other guy was dead.
Yeah, she just doesn't heal that much, but like not at all, but she just still does a fuck ton of damage.
Like it removed some counterplay from her because it was harder to poke her down, but ultimately just her ultimate was the problem, where she would just kill you at level 6 if you ever misstepped.
Fun champion, definitely. As an AD carry man, I can confirm fun champion.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I feel like it's one of those champions. It's just, I don't want to say it's not a nightmare to balance because it's like relatively easy to balance her. Mm-hmm. It's just annoying. Mm. Like I don't want to play in a laning phase where I can't even walk up to hit a creep without being like, if he presses R on me, what do I do to survive, right? Which is basically my matchup today, where if he walked up to a creep, he had to ask himself, what do I do when he hits his move? Do I die, or do I press all my buttons and run?
It's a very nice mindset to have all in laner.
Yeah, but it's kind of just meta right now. I feel like if you leave any of Aatrox, Irelia, Sylas, Akali, which, you know, ironically, it's probably the last week that there's this many OP champions, but all of these champions basically have the same thing in common, where it's like they're so oppressive in lane, where if you misstep, you either die or lose almost all of your health, and you're about to die to their next rotation of cooldowns, which is honestly not as long as it should be in the laning phase. So like, yeah, it's a bit yikes when you're laning against these champions, and I feel like teams that could work their way around them, as well as play them as well as counter them, have the most success in the LEC right now.
Okay, interesting. So Fnatic is one of those teams, evidently, given that you guys are 4-0. Surprisingly good start for Fnatic.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty good. Like, it's first best start Fnatic has had in a while, I believe. So pretty happy to be part of it. Do
fans need to be worried that it's like reverse psychology happening right there?
It shouldn't be. Again, I feel like we're pretty good at manipulating OP picks in the solo lanes, at least. So as long as OP picks in the solo lanes remain a thing, which honestly it looks like it is. Mordekaiser's coming in. We'll see what this guy has to say, because he looks like a badass, right? Like, he looks so awesome. I played him a bit into the bit, and then I it was like,
didn't matter because it's Mordekaiser and it's a new champion.
Yeah, no. I mean, I entered in my first game, but then as I was playing him a bit, I got a better feel for him. So just as soon as people find a good rune setup, I'm sure he'll be a counter pick. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he'll be like, you lock in Mordekaiser and hope for the best, because he's more like a Darius. Not like not like you, Darius, the Darius.
What is being implied here? I'm sorry.
No, he's just more like a pop stomper, you know?
Oh, so am I not a pop stomper?
Nah, I guess. I mean, are you? I mean, I hear you're pretty good at FIFA, so maybe you're pop stomping on FIFA.
I am indeed pop stomping at FIFA, but
there you go.
Besides that, no.
No, I got you.
Cheers. But in general, what's the mood like in the team? Because, you know, Fnatic, from an outside perspective, sometimes tends to be a team that, you know, really rides the waves up and down. And what's it like for right now?
I feel like everyone just like, we're on edge in a good way, mm-hmm. in the sense that like we're all looking for things we can do better. Mm-hmm. We're doing some sports psychology exercises on giving good feedback, so people feel like they're doing good things, as well as, you know, learning how to properly express problems, right? Like, all right, I didn't like how you did this, or whatever. So in general, I think we're meshing better because we're spending more time in the office as a team and whatnot, and it's good. It's a lifestyle change for me a bit, because last split, again, I had a big thing where I moved in with my girlfriend, and it was a big step for me. But ultimately, I still hold on to the idea that it's good for me, because I have someone to rely on, right? Because back in the days of old, especially in Madrid in summer 2018, I had a really bad performance in the whole playoffs, basically. And it wasn't like really bad in the sense that like it was just unacceptable or anything. It was just like I went on stage, I lost the game, and then I would go off stage, and Soaz would go on, and he would win all games. And right then I'm just like, holy shit, that feels really bad. You know, and even if, you know, teammates are telling you, oh, you know, it wasn't your fault and blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously, I recognize that somewhere it was my fault. So I had no one to back me up back then. So I feel like if I ever go into a slump again, at least I'll have someone to back me up, right? And that was always my idea. And that's like from my professional perspective, right? Like, and from a personal perspective, it's just lovely having a girlfriend around, right? Like, this is someone you love. Like, she's great. I mean,
this is turning into a love letter. Is it Valentine's Day? Or?
No. It's just, I feel like a lot of people give me shit for like trying to make it work. And I don't get that much opportunity to talk about it. And I feel like, you know, talking to you, more relaxed style of interview, I get to talk about me a bit more, right? Because everything's always about, oh, you know, Fnatic this, Fnatic that. And I just feel like games like today where I perform still at a decent level, I feel like, of course, there's room to improve. I think I could have solo killed him bot if I was better. He pressed hourglass and I missed my Q. Whatever. Hilly was there to clean him up.
He had a good game.
All planned. We got more gold on the board.
It's all 200 IQ calculated in advance.
Yeah, Hilly had a good game too. So it's just like I'm saying, I feel like we trust each other a lot more in the draft, but we're also aware of when someone has to step down, which is something last split weren't doing. Like no one was taking one for the team, if you will. Like we would draft like all strong lanes, right? Because we were all like, okay, we want this, we want that. Like I would be like, oh, I want Aatrox. And mid would be like, oh, I want Sandra or whatever. And then bot would be like, oh, I want this lane. And then the problem was that in the draft, right, after seeing all the matchups, you're like, okay, I want the jungler, I want the jungler, I want the jungler, right? And then your draft has no cohesion in the early game. Like the problem is that you're just hoping that one of the matchups that are supposed to require jungle attention can survive without it. And I feel like nowadays we're a bit slower, you know, it's just like, all right, we got our good matchups, let's just see how we can support those now. And I think it's a good step in the right direction, right? How can we support our firepower? Right, because I think ultimately if we take a priority pick, it doesn't matter who has it in our team. They will do the job, they'll carry. We just need to be ready and willing to support them.
Very nicely said. Now, of course, last split was a bit more shaky for you. I think that's fair to say. Quite a few people, you know, when the announcement of Dan came up and stuff, were like, oh, what the fuck? Broxah was the best motherfucking Bwipo, what the fuck? How did you react to all of that? Because, you know, I felt like 2018, you were like, oh, yeah, Bwipo. Like, Fnatic is like, oh, Bwipo. And then it's like, oh, Bwipo. It's like,
yeah. In general, I feel like from a professional point of view, people were, like, very satisfied with how I was taking care of myself as a player. And what I mean by that is I wasn't taking care of myself. I would just wake up, play 12 hours, go to bed, waste 2 hours in my bed or whatever, sleep, and rinse, repeat. And I would do this. I did this pretty much minus 2 months, right? Because 3rd of November we went home, or 4th of November. For 300 days in a row, right? Basically. So, yeah, at a certain point I excelled, right? Because I was grinding, but I also felt like sometimes there was burnout. Yeah. Especially when I was playing bot lane as well. It was just, you know, actually I felt like the hours I had weren't enough. So even when I was playing 12 hours a day, I felt like I didn't have enough time to play all the champions I needed in solo queue. And again, in these 12 hours, I say that I only played the game, but the reality was that I bonded with the team, right? I would just play board games or just spend time with everybody. Basically, my life was the team, right? And this year that changed. I didn't feel like that was a good thing for me because if the team went down, I would go down with it. And I didn't want to be the type of player that would rely on the team's success to be a positive influence, because that's what I was scared of. Because we were winning everything, right? With or without me. Like I was on the team or I wasn't, we were winning. So I just didn't want to be relying on that. I didn't want to have to rely on winning to bring the positivity that I usually brought to the team, and I still try to. So I looked for a solution in my personal life, right? And ultimately that was my girlfriend, and thank God she's here. Because I feel like she brings me that sort of energy that can still make me happy about doing what I do. And not have to rely on winning, right? Even if we have a bad week or bad weeks, like in spring, I was still able to contribute as much as I normally do. Of course, sometimes it was harder, but we still push through and make it work, right? And that was the whole point. It's just, you know, it's an extra burden in the sense that, no, not a burden, extra responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
And that was a responsibility that I was too immature to take care of last split, which is probably one of the reasons why my performance was worse, because I didn't handle it well, right? I don't think it was my girlfriend's fault, nor me getting one, me having a girlfriend and then moving in with her. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that I was not able to take responsibility properly for both my job and my personal life. Whereas now, I feel like I'm going into the right direction, and apparently my performance is getting a little bit better as we go. So hopefully, if I set a good system that will work for me, we can run that home all the way to the LEC summer finals and maybe win.
And have a good vacation in Greece.
Actually, no, I'm going on vacation already next week. So.
Oh, okay.
So, no vacation in Greece. Vacation is next week.
Vacation is next week. I will probably join you if everything goes well.
Awesome.
So, I hope to have some vacation time as well in LA.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, vacation's more like, for me, is... how do I put it? It just feels kind of bad to go to LA and then grind out the game, if that makes sense. It's just that's the biggest problem I have with going to Rift Rivals is like the idea of like, you're scrimming and whatnot, but like when you sit down and you're like you're not in your office, you're not really in your element, and you don't really have a goal, right? It's not like you're like, okay, for this Rift Rival game I need to like grind out 20 games of Aatrox or 20 games of this. So I'm ready to play it on stage, right? Like, for example, last Rift Rivals, it was like, Aatrox was really OP.
Yeah. It was also very new at the time, so you wanted to grind out.
Yeah, right? And I didn't grind many games of him to play him on stage. I was just playing whatever the hell I wanted. Yeah. You know, so it was just for fun. That's basically the best way I can describe the tournament, is just for fun. And ultimately, that will hurt your consistency, I think, as a team as well as a player, because I feel like you're forced to take a step back out of the routine you have, and the amount of hours you spend into the game are just forcibly ripped out. Not to mention, when you come back, you'll have jet lag.
But you have a week off.
Yes, I mean, obviously, right? But that's what I'm saying, that week off doesn't help, because...
Yeah, the schedule is still...
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So, like, you kind of took a break, right? And yeah, sure, you can go to NA and play, like, 70 games of solo queue in a week, or 100 games if you're a Nemesis. This guy is a beast when it comes to grinding games. And yeah, great, but then you just hop on a 20-hour flight, and then you have 2 or 3 days off, because the teams obviously also think you should take, a break after a trip like that. And then you come back, 2 or 3 days later, so like 10 days later, realistically speaking, and have like a 10-day gap where you're just like, I didn't really push myself forward. And again, that's my perspective. Maybe I have the wrong perspective, and I should be making the most out of this international event. But it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have my thoughts on Rift Rivals as well, very, very mixed ones. I mean, I'm happy to go to LA, potentially, but yeah, I also think it's kind of a useless tournament. Like, it shouldn't be in the middle of a split. That's my take. Like, it should be either at the start, at the end, but not in the middle. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like it would be fine if it was a tournament that was fluid, in the sense that it would take place when the standings are decided. Yeah. So, like, for example, in a week break, like, I mean, that's also like really, really It's just like the problem ultimately is that NA and EU, there's an ocean between them. So either one of those two is gonna have to move, and they're the ones getting hobbled, right? They're the ones that are not happy. Yeah. And in this case, it's been 2 years in a row, us, so we're the ones that are happy. Like, if it was in Berlin, it was like, whatever, like, it's like, it's fine. You're not, like, changing your schedule up. You're not doing anything different. You're just doing, like,
grind the same solo queue.
You just have to go on stage more often. That's it, right? Yeah. That's the difference. But because you're the one, like, changing environment, it feels different, right? It's just, everything is different. You need some time to get accustomed to it. You're not in your own room that you're used to, you're in a hotel room, blah, 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 right? It's just completely different. And it's a nice change of pace if you didn't have to go compete in the LEC straight after. Right? Let's say, next week we go 5-1 against G2 or 6-0, because again, I do believe we have a good chance of beating G2. So let's say we go 6-0, right? How many times has this happened after Rift Rivals? The best team kind of just... I
mean, in the past, it happened literally every time, so...
Yeah, so, at some point the jet lag memes, are they memes? maybe, probably, but still.
I mean, I remember last year, Caps had jet lagged, Hilly was jet lagged, Dylan was jet lagged, and I can't remember whether you and Broxer were also jet lagged, but like, I mean, that's already half the fucking Fnatic squad. So like,
I mean, it's whatever. And we can complain about it all we want, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's on us to make the most out of it. So like, what's gonna happen? We can complain about it like formally. I feel like just like complaining about it between everybody else is like a bit underhanded, maybe. But yeah, if we complain about it formally, it's like, look, I'm trying to find a solution. Maybe that would help. But right now, it's just more like, it's there. Let's try to do our best.
Are you Here's an idea. Get rid of the concept of spring and summer split. Just have one long season. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
No?
I mean, again, it'd be nice for viewers, right? But I don't think pro players would appreciate not having a break at all.
No, I mean, like, but just like say cut down on the general amount of games. So have like every team faces up against each other 3 times instead of 4 in total.
So basically have a really you have a longer, bigger split in the middle of the year, and then longer, like less
more breaks, yeah.
More breaks, and during those breaks you have an
and like total, it's more break.
Yeah, in total it's more break, but there should be international tournaments during those breaks, I imagine.
So like have MSI at the start, then have the long season, then have Worlds, and then that's it.
No, I was more thinking.
That was my idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of troll.
Oh.
I mean, I think having MSI in the middle of makes sense, right? Mid-season.
Yeah, I mean it does, but I also always felt like MSI also kind of like, you know, there are a lot of jet lags.
Like if you had like Rift Rivals or something like this, like it's like All Stars, right? They happen at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like having something at the start of the year also makes sense. If it's like something like Rift Rivals, which is like, you know.
I guess like the time frame between, you know, All Stars and the start of the split is like barely a month, maybe 1.5. So it would make sense to also have Rift Rivals.
It's more like the way people want it to be perceived.
Yeah.
It's not serious. No one takes it seriously. But if you win,
I mean, last year even Riot didn't take it seriously with the pie in the face and stuff. But like it's gotten to
no, but it's like people don't take it seriously. But it sucks to lose it, you know. Whereas going to All Stars, I don't think you're like, oh, you know, like
oh I lost. Oh yeah.
It's more like I lost. You know, it's not like really like you know. It just feels bad, man.
So it's on the actual feels Batman scale, whereas All Stars is just memes, literally just memes.
I think so. I've never been to All Stars, so if someone wants to grant me the experience, maybe I need to play a bit better still. But
just I think All Stars is only about social media game, dude. Like it's only about memes and
it's just fun, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's what Rift Rivals I feel like should be. But I feel like they're shifting towards it. Don't get me wrong. It started off as like a real thing, you know, like Rift Rivals. Let's fuck shit up, you know.
And then literally all 3 teams were like, "We have other shit to fix right now. We can't fucking play this." And then Riot was like, "Oh right, that does make sense when you're in the middle of a split and you're an important team. You want like other time."
Whatever.
We've rambled a lot about it. Riot is gonna be so mad at us. No,
I'll just make the most out of it. You know, that's I think what the takeaway is here.
Yeah, same. And I think that, like, as long as the viewers enjoy it, that's like, I guess, one of the most important things.
Yeah.
So, speaking of viewers, anything you would like to say to the Fnatic fans?
Thanks for the support. Thanks for hyping us up, I guess.
And you guys having a good split.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it continues that way.
I guess the Fnatic fans hope that as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to work hard to make sure it does, but like next week will be like the decider of like where we stand as a team. I feel like obviously this is a good start, but it's only a start, right? Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time that a team comes in with a good start and then whoo. So we just have to not get complacent, not like be too happy about the standings, and just focus on our own game. Because I feel like if we do, we're a contender for the title.
I think that's pretty fair to say. So far, we're excited for the future. A hashtag for the people that watched until the end.
Hashtag no more cages.
Hashtag no more cages because
Salah says that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I thought it was like it's automatically chains in my head, but yeah, cages also.
No, but it's what I think he says it when does he? Yeah, I think he says it when you lock him in.
Ah, okay. No more cages.
I'm pretty. Like, he could be saying something. I know what he says when you ban him for sure.
No more cages. Hashtag no more cages.
I think he says it for sure, but I'm not sure if it's his pick quote.
Okay, you're 100% sure. You want to plug the OnePlus as well as your teammate did so well?
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's a really nice phone. TLDR.
Very nice.
No, I mean, it's actually a really nice phone. Yeah. Like, I'm happy I have one. Yeah. So, yeah, if you want a new phone, honestly, it's worth considering. No joke.
No joke. Actual serious. Hashtag no more cages. Thank you so much, people, for your time. Make sure to follow them on various social media platforms. This was Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you guys have a good day. See you guys then. Bye-bye.
We'd especially like to thank Krzysztof Bujnovic, Thomas Göttel, Etienne, Erich Althaus, Lukas Legal, Lazy Raven, Lama Vyuta, and Adam Novosviat for your very special support, and of course also all the people whose names you see scrolling past you. Without you guys, we would have closed down probably a while ago. So thank you so much for your help. Thank you.